So, judging by the names that I see on the list of attendees, I'm going to start by saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. That should cover all of my bases. So, my name is Bernard Taliaferro. I'm Ragent's Vice President of Global Channels, and I'm excited to welcome you to Ragent's webinar introducing the BCCommander Suite. BCCommander Suite is the latest evolution of Ragent's BC Enterprise platform. But before we get into the new product, allow me to cover some housekeeping topics. First, the webinar is being recorded and it will be archived and posted on our various pages, allowing you and others to review it at a later date. Second, we have everyone muted except the presenters, but rest assured that your questions are very important to us. We will have time for Q&A at the end of the webinar. So please note the chat button in the taskbar. It should be at the bottom of your screen, I believe. If you open up that chat window, you can type your questions in there in real time so that we can address them at the end of the webinar. We'll do our best to answer all of your questions. If by chance there are questions that we don't get to or questions that we don't have answers to, we will get those answers and then we'll distribute it to everyone attending the webinar later. So that's it for the housekeeping. So now I have the honor of introducing to some, presenting to others, our speaker for today. So today presenting will be Ragent's product manager, Andrew Martin. Andrew has a background in industrial engineering as well as an MBA. He has worked in several industrial verticals, and he's been with Ragent since 2020. He oversees Ragent's catalog of products as well as the development of future Ragent offerings into the industrial markets globally. So without further ado, I'm excited to hand things over to Andrew Martin. Take it away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Like Bernard said, I'm Andrew Martin, Director of Product Management here at Ragent. Today I'm very excited. Today, well, I should say it better. Today I'm very excited because we're unveiling a major product that we've been working on for quite a while. Our engineers have spent a lot of sleepless nights getting this one ready. And adding this to our portfolio is it's a huge advancement for Ragent. So today I'm going to go through our overview, show you about the product, talk about some of the key features that are new for it. I'm going to go through a few use cases of how the product gets used and what it's helpful for. Then I'm going to switch over. I'll do a demo to show the software live and how to navigate it a little bit. Just a real high level showing for it. And then I'll pause and look for question and answers, do a session on that. And I would say I can probably get that all done in about 35 minutes. So if you can you work with me for that, let's see where we go. Like Bernard said, the BCCommander suite, it's the next evolution after we've been working through BC Enterprise software you've been familiar with for a while. This is built for mission critical industries, places where Ragent is typically in, for mining and ports, construction and defense. And the Commander suite really empowers professionals to meet those toughest SLAs and be able to respond with real-time action and accountability for keeping that network up when it just can't go down. So this network management suite, it's working to combine the functionality, combining what you're familiar with from BC Enterprise, and then also what you're familiar from our legacy BCCommander. We are going to expand BC Enterprise from a single web application into a collection of functionality, things that can really be added to having real-time features and not just a focus on time series information that may have been something we had with just Enterprise. And then with Commander, that's going to be enhanced, and that is now part of a platform where the new features and services can be added to that, and there's a bidirectional communication between software packages, whether you're on a web app or a desktop app, and really give the focus for our desktop app is to control the full network and not just have a view or a function for an individual breadcrumb. I'll just summarize for a second here. I believe there's some people that aren't familiar with BC Enterprise, maybe not familiar with our Commander software, but just to remind some people that might be new to it, the software that we have existing, our Enterprise and our Commander. The Enterprise is a web accessible app. It's an always-on type of monitoring device that's focusing on historical data, looking at trends, looking at analyzing nodes or groups of breadcrumbs. It's got a series of dashboards. It's got a bunch of standard reports, and it can also be customized for what the users are looking for. On the Commander side, that is a desktop application, and that's really focused on how to configure the breadcrumbs, how to set things like the VLANs and security and other settings for breadcrumbs, update their firmware, troubleshoot the devices, maybe one at a time, and trace them or be able to look at even previous like snapshot data in there. So all that information, all that functionality is continuing, and we're bringing that forward into the next version, and we are adding to it. So as we add to it, here's some of the key things that we're putting into the new Commander suite. You can see with our advanced tier, and I'll go through a little bit later about how we have some tiers to offer. But we have a new NOC dashboard, and being able to see the whole network at a high level, being able to have this like in a kiosk, and this would be something that could be set up in a control room or for an IT team. Something that at a glance, you can look at this and you can see how's the network going, is there an issue that needs to be addressed, and where to go to take action on it. It's a fully interactive dashboard. If somebody loads it up on their local desktop, they can click through things and be taken to exactly where the issues are. And I'll show that here in a little bit too in our demo. The client naming is another thing that being able to name devices instead of being able to look at them by their MAC address or maybe their IP address, being able to have something that's more logical, something that you're familiar with, so that you can have a more simplified view. And that information is then it's listed here on the desktop. I'm sorry, on the web app, the way that it's set up, and then you can see that propagate into the desktop app and be used in all the areas that you use our software. And then finally, with the network-based configuration, really focusing on how to configure not just a breadcrumb, but a network of breadcrumbs, a network of equipment with setting up all their network settings, their VLANs, their Instamesh parameters, and being able to do that for not based on like a breadcrumb model or something of like a few serial numbers, but hopefully a group that are dedicated for a purpose. Maybe these are a group that go on a truck, and you can configure them as they need to be for a truck, or for infrastructure or anything else, or site-wide. You can configure everything as a site-wide setup if you need to, and do that remotely. And then some of our really advanced features, some of these new things that we're bringing to the enterprise platform tier. So mesh-wide alerts, and this is being able to detect data or inconsistencies across the mesh. Things like AP, access point conflicts, or firmware mismatches. We're not alerting any longer on just a breadcrumb with an issue. We're looking at there's a series of breadcrumbs. There's a list, and this list of breadcrumbs has a particular issue. And what's most important now is that there's a recommendation on what to do about it. So you get a notice about a group. You get a information about which breadcrumbs are part of that group with this problem, and then you get a I guess remediation or a recommendation on what to change to fix this particular issue. Uh, Digging the next level deeper and talking about network analysis, now you have the ability to run KMSS reports locally and be able to pull out all the summaries of what happens with a kinetic mesh snapshot. And with that are the recommendations, the issues, whether it's hardware problems, configuration problems, things that you'll see, and you'll see how the report is basically available within seconds as you run the report. You're able to open it, download it right to your local machine, and then start seeing not just what the summary is, but again, what are the recommendations to do with it. Uh, then the notifications and alerts, that is improving above and beyond what we've done before. Now Ragent has hosted a email service so that you can set up, with particularly these mesh-wide alerts, you can set up a email group to send these to. And if you have a particular group that you need to alert for hardware issues, or maybe a different group for security issues, this will send put a notification up on the web tools. But in addition, you'll get a email to the distribution list, and that's of course the modern way to deal with these things. It's not like somebody's going to be staring at these screens 24/7. This is pushing a notice right away as soon as something occurs, so that anytime, day or night, you can get this information and then respond to it as quickly as you need to. Uh, and then finally, the GPS tracking, and uh, the the original BCCommander had our topology views with GPS information, but now we've expanded that into our web application, and being able to observe and watch physical movement over time, being able to watch things as they traverse a site, over I guess a short or a long date range, and then being able to do heat mapping with coloring the signals based on things like cost, noise, SNR, and being able to visually see where they run into issues and where some of these things are changing. So as I talk about some of the things that the devices, well, the software, I should say, talk about what it can do. Here's the things that some of those features are useful for. As we think about reducing downtime, the automated alerts are really trying to focus on how can you get a notification, get a flag about it, get the information that you need, and then act on it before it becomes a failure. Uh, the idea for a lot of our industries of having a network go down, it's disaster. And what we're trying to do is see any of these alerts as we'll have warnings, and we'll have alerts, and we'll have different degrees that are severe, and being able to get notified before there's a major outage. That's something that is very critical for some of our industries and some of our networks. That can save thousands when you're dealing with some of these networks that just are mission critical and they just can't go down. Being able to lower some of the support labor is really talking about how we can make these reports and how we can make all these summaries very clear and actionable. And instead of combing through logs, being able to you have to interpret some of the warnings or cryptic alerts, we're making it as streamlined as possible, that you get an email, you get an action plan, and you get a recommended remediation. And we're really trying to make it as quick as possible for somebody to see something and do something about it, so that there's really a very quick way to handle these things. And some of our early users have already been seeing a lot of time savings, 5, even 15 hours for some of our larger sites, when they don't have to deal with issues on let's say, a log, and kind of piece together a story. The story is really laid out in front of them. And then really trying to eliminate configuration problems that, there's issues with network settings that it creates inconsistency. It prevents things from working perfectly, and it might be network drift, or it might be other issues that you've got a particular device that, if it's not configured right, it can go out into the network, partially work, but then if it migrates somewhere and it goes down, you're gonna have to go get that back, and you're gonna have to go deal with that on a individual breadcrumb basis. And if it's a simple configuration error, now we can actually just deal with that and keep the whole site configured correctly, and not being orphaning any of these breadcrumbs, not have issues that you want to be worrying about how the network is just drifting from the configuration that you expect and that you need on your site. Now I've talked about several of these features, different things that we've got already, and then a lot of the new stuff that we've built into the product. So we've built the product into a series of tiers. So the Commander Suite is coming with a core, or advanced, or an enterprise tier. The core tier is offered for free, and it allows our users to configure and update the Ragent equipment, as well as tracing and troubleshooting. And so this is the expectation, that our core and our desktop app is a free piece of software. And you can have peace of mind that this is going to continue to be free, so that it can be used for everything you need on getting these breadcrumbs up and running as you would always expected. Now this advanced tier, this is new, and really thinking about the streamlining of daily network management, trying to centralize the configuration of equipment, and seeing that NOC dashboard to be able to understand how the site is running. This is really trying to simplify that site oversight, and be able to allow the teams to focus on have the network running, allowing them to just work on other priorities. This is our mid tier, and then the enterprise tier is really looking at how to offer up that intelligence and that automation at scale. Really looking at how do we create clear recommendations on how to improve the performance of the network, the mesh-wide alerts, working with the GPS tracking over time and the heat mapping. And I think most importantly, the enterprise subscribers being able to have that expectation that there's a very clear focus, or a clear I guess it's a process flow, that there's an email alert, there's actionable instructions, and there's a clear process on how to get to resolution, and allow them to provide those SLAs for really keeping the site up 99.99% and beyond. So the features that I was just talking about, they're just all in the different price buckets, and with the Commander Core being free, the Advanced is $6.50 per month, and that's per device, and then the Enterprise is $9.50. So I just wanted to be clear and open. This is the pricing that we have about it. This is very similar to what you've experienced with BC Enterprise in the past. It's actually a discount, a fairly good discount on some of the small and mid-sized I guess price points, whereas BC Enterprise was always priced on a scale from 20 to 1,000 breadcrumbs. So now we just have it as a flat rate based on what you have in your network. I guess I'll mention that with our pricing, we will start with a single year, a term of being able to have this for the amount of breadcrumbs you want, and you can buy it in a single year term. We are going to be also moving pretty soon to a usage-based plan, so that you'll be able to just pay for on a month-to-month basis how much you're using, and based on how many breadcrumbs are just active in the network. And we've got ways that we've got a configuration for whether it's connected to the internet or even not connected. We've got ways to make that functional so that you can really not worry about oversubscribing to your software. This will just be on a usage plan of if you have X number running in a month and you've turned off 10, the software is only going to be charging for what's getting used. I want to run through a demo, show you guys what the software really all looks like. Before I switch over to that, I want to just mention that, I guess let me go back a slide. I talked about some of the use cases and some of the features, and on our website, I do have a brochure for the features and the benefits, and it'll continue on from what I was talking about today, where some of the different scenarios, some of the different problems that it's working to solve, highlighting the different tiers. And if you want some of this content, it's up on our website to focus on some of the new features, and then again what we've so far found a value for using the software. Okay, so let me switch over and get a demo for you guys. I'll do this quickly. I will be able to do this. It'll probably take me like 10 minutes. But then there's I guess our sales engineering team. They can also follow up with you guys to demo this software, dig into more of the details on how to navigate it, things to show you in more detail. So it could be a demo I could spend probably an hour or more on, but I just want to touch the real high level work here. So I have it loaded up here. This is the home screen. It's also the network operations center view, the NOC overview. So you can see that it's just one page. I can collapse this to make it fit as tight as I want. It's a general high level information about, do you have any errors or warnings? Are there any mesh-wide alerts that need to be taken care of? You can click through this stuff and it'll take you to different pages to address these particular things. Some high level things about if there's any devices that are not connected or not in a connection state, how long the devices have been up for, or some other situations about, is there a lot of noise in the area? Is there any breadcrumbs with high temperature? Just some of your high level alerts or situations that would need to be dealt with, and inform your operations center about that. You can see the map here that as I zoom in on any of these network hotspots here, that you can see a map of where the different breadcrumbs are. Up at the top is a list of all the filters, things you can filter by, particularly filtering by group, being able to sort by any other things that are relevant, especially on the, oops, I just pulled too much data on this one, but come on. If I want to look at the last 3 hours, I can filter on data for a particular date and time range. If I open back up, get back here. Oops. I'm clicking too far. There we go. If I open up the side menu here and dock it, I can show you the technical overview and just some more of the different details about, I guess, what kind of channels we're using, if there's breadcrumbs on different firmware, what some of the breadcrumb family or models are, And then some of the details that you need to think about, like how many wired peers you have, how many wireless clients are in the network. Just some more detail that we try to make sure that we're focusing on stuff that's out of the ordinary with some of the technical detail. The RF overview, being able to look at some of the high level, like top 10 type stats, being able to pick on noise, pick on or SNR and cost. You can drill down into any of these, and you can start looking at like the detail for I guess transmit rates, different doing it by frequency. You can see a lot of graphs over time, and you can again select any of the ranges that you want for it. And I'll probably just skip forward just one last dashboard. If I load up let's see, if I load up the GPS one, the GPS will have this is the latest position from all the breadcrumbs that are in the network. And I can just highlight here, again, just zoom in on, I don't know, maybe a dozen that are located here around this building. Now I can also use any of these filters, but I can use, I don't know, I can probably color it by noise. Oh, gotta keep zooming in. There's an outlier way down there, and looks like Kentucky. There, but now you can see I can color it by the different noise levels that are appearing for the breadcrumbs. So you can see this for the current state. And then if I were to look at this in a particular breadcrumb dashboard, you can track a breadcrumb over time. These breadcrumbs aren't moving right now, so I don't have a good way of showing like a breadcrumb trail. But that would be the idea that you can now watch a breadcrumb over time, and then you'll see how he's changing over the given date range that you're looking for. I guess just last bit about some of these dashboards. The dashboards that if you're an enterprise user, if you've used BC Enterprise in the past, all those classic dashboards are still they're still available. We still have propagated those forward into this new Commander Suite version. You can get to all those and all the details about like individual breadcrumbs or looking at peers of like breadcrumb pairs, and being able to, I guess, have all the bits to add or select different filters. And then up here in the top right, being able to make it editable so you can customize the dashboard. You can make your own dashboards from scratch, or particularly for myself, I like to at least start with a given dashboard. Maybe it'd be like the technical overview. If I were to start with that as a template and then make it editable, I can then just add, remove things as I want, and at least I've got a starting point for some of the basic layout and some of the queries. And then export, you can of course share, if you've made a custom dashboard, you can then share that with other users, other people that are using BC Enterprise around your organization, maybe in a different instance. So now onto some of the tools. I've shown you some of the dashboards that are just kind of highlighting the data, and maybe it's real-time data or historic data. But some of the, I'd hinted at some of the alerts. So now I have a view here. In fact, I'm going to switch over to show you some, I guess, more alerts. Here's a bigger network with more alerts to show off. I'll start with the settings. I mentioned to you before, the alerts, you've got a whole series to pick from here. These are just the mesh kind of alerts, where you're looking for things like, oh, there's an access point conflict. Maybe there's things with a wired or wavering wire link, things that would lead to host flapping with an inconsistent Ethernet cable. Things with a little more minor, but when you have a network with different firmware releases, either major or minor firmware releases, you can get alerted that there's a group that might have different ones. So what you are able to do is enable them or disable them here with these toggles, and then subscribe to them with a group. These are email distribution list groups. So you can create your distribution list, and then you can add them to anybody that is appropriate to get these links or get these email alerts. um, when an email, I'm sorry, when a alert fires, it sends off an email, but it also will show up here in any of the live alerts. So as I can do any of these drop downs, here's a example. So a radio event was observed. It was for a list of breadcrumbs. So this is again not just firing off alerts for every breadcrumb, everything that has a warning or an alert, but it's a concise list of them, and then the recommendation on what to do about it. And some of them are a little more descriptive. I guess think about access point conflict. So the ESIDs with differing security settings. It's affecting this breadcrumb, and here's the recommendation for what to do about it. APT misalignment and all kinds of different things. You can see some of these warnings and alerts. So that's the newer stuff that we don't want to just do an alert on a single breadcrumb. We want to be able to do things that are more logical with a group that might be experiencing stuff together. Drilling into that just a bit further on the KMSS. Actually, I'll keep it over here. So the KMSS generator, this can be run locally, and this will allow you to take a snapshot locally, upload it here to a generator, and then you're able to download the results. And I've got one here that I can show you, but you can just see in the table of contents, being able to see things. Sometimes I work from the bottom up, but just being able to look at hardware information. If there's high voltages or if there was high temperatures, will be listed here. Being able to look at wireless inconsistencies and which devices are dealing with that, or wired inconsistencies. Things with the VLANs, things with I guess SNMP servers, security settings, looking at Instamesh type of inconsistencies, and then drilling in. There's some top tens. Let's see, where is it? Snapshot, synopsis. Oh, it was under Instamesh settings. So seeing some of the top 10 things that you see in the network, and just being able to see that as a clear list of which breadcrumbs, or if it's access point or wired devices, it'll be able to show you those particular devices, and then what's the specific issue with them. So instead of having to submit snapshots to our Radiant service and support team, now it's able to be done all locally here, and you can get it within seconds to be able to get that. And we'll continue to make improvements to the KMS reports. And so my drive is to make a lot of this data as actionable as possible. And then over time, we'll continue to work for being able to actually see a way to resolve and remediate these issues basically inside the network and inside the breadcrumb, so that you can get a summary of what's been fixed. And that's stuff that we'll work towards in the future. So that's the mesh alerts, the KMSS reporting, and then just mentioning the client nicknames, being able to, actually, sorry, I'll switch over to my other instance here, but here I've got a few that are named. So being able to see your client MAC addresses. We're also updating this to look at IP addresses, but really to give them a name so that it's not just a string for like a MAC address or an IPv. Well, IPv6 is a very long kind of cryptic number, but now you can see this here in the web application, and then it also translates into the desktop app, so you can track them and follow them basically by name. So it's a little bit easier to follow them, and you could create names that are more logical, or tagged as name them as a part of a group, perhaps. So I guess that's probably a good bit of info. Gosh, there's a bunch of stuff I want to show you, but I should probably pause. I should probably, like I mentioned, if you want to get a deeper dive, you'll go through it as a deeper demo. There's demo site. Our sales engineers can get a chance to work with you guys, show you a better, or yeah, probably better than I can do it, a demonstration of exactly the ins and outs of the site. And it's a site that it's a suite, as we call it now, that we're continuing to grow on. We're continuing to we've got already a lot of Rev 2 features that we're going to be implementing in the coming months. A lot of stuff that our beta testers have really helped us to create a great game plan on how to improve this for our existing customer base, and a lot of the networks that are just the stuff that is mission critical, but really even our day-to-day users. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for folks to understand and operate a network with not a lot of hands-on, just time in the seat watching this stuff. I think that's probably good for now. Why don't I take a break for a second and go through any questions that might have popped up?
Great job, Andrew. As I mentioned earlier when I was doing the intro, please put your questions in the chat box and we'll start to go through them right now. And questions are starting to roll in now. Have one here from Javier. Is this a new look and new business plan for Enterprise? I have a client using Enterprise for like 2 weeks. Is there a chance to change them to this version apart from the new software? Looks better. Thanks. So we had this conversation yesterday as well. So uh, if you want to move from a current version of or a current license of BC Enterprise, um, what we're able to do is basically do a prorated cost to switch from BC Enterprise to BCommander Suite. So if you've been using BC Enterprise and your license, of course, is an annual license, we'll prorate what you've used versus what you're going to be buying of BCommander Suite and quote the price accordingly. Thank you for that, Javier.
And if I can
Question
just
here.
add that we certainly have a technical way to migrate the old BC Enterprise to the new BCommander suite. There is a technical migration of moving the data over, but it's pretty simple. So it'll be a very doable for you guys to move from your old data to the new set.
Thanks for that, Andrew. I've got a question here from Renus that I'm happy to see that we have Carl Venter on as well, one of our incredible sales engineers. So Renus's question is, in the event where a group of BCs are remotely configured through the BCC platform and connectivity to those BCs is lost during the configuration period, how is this mitigated to avoid network misconfiguration due to incomplete configurations? Um,
Yep.
we'll leave that for Carl, right?
No, I can answer that if you guys like.
Oh, okay, great, great.
Yeah, so the idea is that yes, there's a master configuration that you want for a site or for a group of breadcrumbs, and this is getting built into I guess we have a feature update that's coming in just a pretty short order. So this is something that's going to be built into the next rev, that this it's better than just bulk config for things that are connected. This will have a record of how many breadcrumbs are part of the group that should be configured, and as they join or leave the network, they will look for basically a notice that they have a configuration waiting, and so they will get that. And there is a logical, I guess, agreement, because they could be configured locally, like by somebody plugging into them, and then when they join this network, that is that local config is going to get overwritten, and so that needs to be negotiated. It's like, is that the plan, and is that what was meant to be done? But by creating groups of configurations for specific breadcrumbs, we've got a way to help organize that. And yes, that is how it's going to work.
Thank you, Andrew. I've got a question here from Ed over at Velocity. Um, are the costs provided MSRP with standard software discount structure in place? Um, so actually, the costs that are listed in the presentation, that is actually the price. This will be a software package or a service sold directly. Um, and the reason that we're doing that is because when we graduate to real-time calculation of the cost based on the number of breadcrumbs that are accurate, that are active, uh, and move to monthly billing, it would be extremely complicated to do that through the multi-tier model that the rest of our sales take. Anything you want to add to that, Andrew?
Uh, yeah, well, that's how we're working through it. Is anybody who wants the software, they can have it. It's basically our flat pricing that we're trying to keep as simple as possible.
Excellent. And from Xander, I have a question here on the alerting. What is the frequency of repeatable alerts and can it be customized?
Uh, Yes. So there's muting. So you can mute the alerts if you are looking to, I guess, not continue to get those alerts on a, I guess, routine basis. Um, so you can acknowledge the alert so that it's not there in your view, and then you can mute it for not, I guess, for a period of time, for like minutes or days or months. Um, and so that's how to address it, or that's how to make sure it doesn't continually fire. Um, it, oh man, so if it's something about, let's say a high temperature, um, the if the temperature is hot on the device, and if you are not muting it, if you want to you see that it's still there, um, it I guess I need to follow up on it won't continually send you emails, and it won't continually send you the alert in the web application if it's not changing state. Um, but we do what's called a scrape interval, and I need to confirm which kind of alerts I guess get re-engaged, because I think it's on a alert by alert basis. Which ones are seen as it's still the same as last time. No need to re-email it.
Thank you, Andrew. So from Scott Rowley, can this platform be hosted in the cloud rather than on the local network of the mesh?
Uh, if your local network is connected to the cloud, and you've got a instance up there in your cloud, or in a cloud that you host, that you want to have this put to, this is distributed as a VM, and that'll be fine if you wanted to host it, I guess, locally on a box, or on a virtual box, wherever. So we'll allow, well, it's built to be as simple as possible for how you distribute it on a VM with a hypervisor. So I guess yes is the answer.
And then from Jens, can the license still be activated offline as with the previous software versions in this new BCCommander software? Is this new BCCommander software required to have an internet connection at all times? You kind of addressed that a little bit, but I'll let you elaborate.
Sure. We are designing this so that it's still functional and you can still have all this functionality offline. Now there are certain things that don't logically work without an internet connection. If you're not connected to the outside world, you won't connect to our like our email service. So you won't be able to get that for being able to connect to it. You also won't be able to easily use our what do you call it, pay-as-you-go service or a billing for being able to just get the breadcrumbs that you're actively using. Um, Although we do have a manual workaround for that for you guys. But the idea is that you load this. The typical deployment is you would load this locally onto a VM that is connected to your mesh network. Um, it has it's built in with a BC connector, if you're familiar with that. And when you run the web app, or when you load up BCCommander, that is, I guess, inside that network, you don't need an internet connection. All this functionality will be visible and contained in a local copy that's standalone.
Excellent. So at this moment, I've just got two more questions, so I'll hit the next to the last now. Can BCCommander Suite work with older version breadcrumbs, for instance, 11.27 or 11.28?
Yes, absolutely. So you had mentioned the firmware there. It'll highlight that it says older firmware, but it'll still pick them up. We can still see and I guess show them, be able to have them visible on all the pages. So that is still available in the older models. Yeah, those even the models that are let's say end of sale or more beyond in their life cycle, this will still see them and show them on any of the dashboards.
Excellent. Last question I have here from Mohammed. What tools does it offer for packet loss or latency analysis?
Uh, Yes. So um, there are dashboards that you can pick up, or you can show for, I guess, uh, in the equipment detail, and then also in the RF detail. You can see, I guess, all the you can see that, well, cost is a major function with latency, but you can see the general peer-to-peer latencies. You can see all the information about uh, I guess I forget if it's in equipment detail, but you can see the any packet loss type information that you've got in the network. I think that's in that, or it might be in the particular breadcrumb dashboard. Um, so there's a couple places you can see those things. And actually, we're adding some additional functionality coming up pretty soon for being able to watch the pings as they go across the network from basically pinging not just our equipment, but pinging the connected equipment too. So seeing those ping latencies, all the way to a like an access point client or other devices.
Excellent. So that's it for the questions that we received. So with that, first off, I want to thank you, Andrew, for sharing this information with our partners and distributors. And I'd like to also thank Gizzy O'Toole of the marketing team for all the behind the scenes uh, effort that he puts in to help us to not look like idiots. And then last but not least, I want to thank all of our partners, distributors, and customers for attending this webinar to learn about the BCCommander Suite offering. I hope this presentation was useful. I hope you found it to be informative, and I'm super excited about this new offering and more excited to start hearing feedback from you guys once you start utilizing it. I think this is the last of our product launches for a little while. So now's an
Don't
ideal
jinx
time.
it. We'll be here sooner than you think.
Now's an ideal time for me to finalize the price book and get the newest version of that out. So you should start seeing that soon. And I'll also make sure that any collateral for the products that we've introduced over the last 2 weeks is available in the partner portal. So again, thanks for your attendance and your attention to this. And my hope is that you guys have a wonderful day, evening, or afternoon. And, you know, most importantly, have a wonderful day on purpose. Take care.
Thank you.